morning, friends. I am doing yet again another project that I figured I'd take you along with me. I'm going to be making homemade applesauce. I wanted to try this method out. I had seen this from another YouTuber. I think it's called 1 Acre Homestead. I really love her channel. She's only like a year old and she has like, I don't even know, like 100,000 plus more followers. Her videos are really cool. But she talked about making applesauce, which I have done before. I've done it on the stovetop. I've done it in the Instapot, which wasn't my favorite. I feel like it came out really watery. She did hers in the crock pot. It makes total sense. I don't know why I never thought of doing that. Plus it's like a bigger vessel than your typical pot, which just makes life easy and I don't have to sit here with it, considering I have a 20-month-old and I'm 20 weeks pregnant. So it's like the perfect method for me. So I just wanted to try it out to see what the quantities were. That's Paul's toast. I'll get that in a second. So for me, filling my entire crock pot up with sliced apples, I just put a little water on the bottom, maybe half a cup. That's it. You can add sugar and stuff to it. And that was enough to make 7 pints. So I'm gonna do that again. So what I was saying is I still have this massive bag of apples that we got from a local orchard like 3 miles down the road. The county that I live in is known for apples in this area of Northwest Virginia. So we have lots of apples all over the place and they're really good price. So I got that and I made a lot of applesauce the last time. I used a lot of apples, which was yay. And I'm going to use the rest of them. There are a lot of Granny Smiths in there, so I don't really want that in my applesauce. Not that you can't make them into applesauce, they're just a little tart. I do have something else that I want to use those for. So we're gonna process all those down, see how much we get. The Granny Smiths, what I wanna do is make freezer apple pie filling with them. Let me grab the recipe. So for the applesauce, I'm going to be using this bad boy. Love this book. I had one. I do not know where it is. Like I literally cannot find it. It was a hardcover. My mom got it for me about a decade ago. I literally looked everywhere, could not find it. So I just bought a new one and I bought the spiral bound notebook kind of one. So that's kind of cool. So this is the applesauce recipe I'm making. There is a sweetened one in here that you can use, but I'm just using literally just straight apples. That's the way I like it. And if I blend mine up with the Vitamix, it makes it like super duper smooth, which is not completely my favorite, but Paul likes it that way. So that's the way I've been doing it. I like mine to be a little chunky, to be honest, but Paul was not a fan when I did that the last time. So we're gonna make it for Paul because he needs the fruit and veg more than I do. So we're gonna use that for the applesauce. And then one of my favorite books, which I have just flagged all over, Seriously Good Freezer Meals. I've talked about this book before, by Carrie Truman of happymoneysaver.com. I follow her on Instagram. I recommend you do too, because she posts stuff that's not in her current book at least. And what caught my attention was a couple weeks ago, she posted apple pie filling for the freezer. So I'm gonna make some of that. Now her recipe, what she does is usually like crazy bulk quantities kind of thing. So I'm just gonna have to see what I have, because this calls for 20 cups of thinly sliced apples, which is about 20 apples. I don't think that I have that much, so we'll see. I don't know if I'm gonna get this today. If not, it'll be in this video, but it might be tomorrow. And basically this is a cooked apple pie filling, so you're gonna cook it on the stove. You just thaw it and put it in your pie crust, I believe. Oh my God, I'm so congested. My allergies are driving me nuts. And she even gives you how long to thaw it in the fridge, and then she even gives you how to bake it. So with your prepared pie pan, if you use homemade or from the store, she gives you the directions on how to cook it. So it was pretty awesome. I love her recipes and blog and everything. So I highly recommend happymoneysaver.com. And I have this one all flagged up because this is the one I use for my freezer meals. I mentioned it in another video. Upcoming in November, I'm going to do an open collaboration for Freezer Meal Fridays. I'll have more details coming on that because I'm pregnant. I need freezer meals. I also really need freezer meal ideas. I love watching videos on people doing freezer meals, you know, just doing things besides like the usual tater tot casserole and grilled chicken kind of thing. So I'll have more details to that. I'm really excited and I'll bring you along with me as I make all sorts of freezer meals. We're doing breakfast, lunch, dinner, and desserts. Okay, so enough talking. Let me get set up and we'll start. I'm gonna have breakfast first and some coffee and some Claritin, I think, because I'm about to sneeze. So here is my setup for everything. I have all my apples. I do have a bag in here of organic apples from Misfit Produce that I just threw in here. And I did separate the other apples. So here's my Granny Smiths Matt took a lot more than I thought he did, but I don't have 20. And I don't want these in the applesauce, so I pulled them out. And then I just pulled out, these are Golden Delicious. These are my personal favorite just for eating. So I grabbed 3 of those out for me so I could eat those. And then I actually don't have as many apples as I thought I did. So we might be doing the applesauce, and then I might be doing, go get some more apples this weekend and do the apple pie filling. I do want the apple pie filling, but I don't have enough apples for that. So that'll be a different day. Same video. So anyway, I have this thing, which is, this just makes this process go so much easier. This thing slices, cores, it suction cups to your counter. It doesn't suction cup to mine very easily. I have to adjust it every single time. I have seen other people use a clamp one. I just don't have that one. I'm thinking of upgrading, so it like clamps on the counter so it stays easier. We're gonna buzz through all these apples, get them in the crock pot. Like I said, I'm gonna put the crock pot on low and put about a half a cup of water in there and just let it kind of do its thing all day. All right, let's get going.
You said it was the last time, but you keep coming back to tell me sorry that you take back all the things you said just to hurt me. Our love just went cold, but I'm still burning. Our love just went cold. Why? I keep on making the same mistake. I always let you back in when I begin to get myself together again. You are back once more, like everything's the same. I tried to build my walls up, but you're taking them down. It's tearing me apart, I can't pretend. Now I have to get over you again. You said it was the last time, but you keep coming back to show me sorry you have changed now. But it's the same old story. Our love just went cold, but I'm still burning. Our love just went cold. Why? I keep on making the same mistake. I always let you back in when I begin to get myself together again. You are back once more, like everything's the same. I tried to build my walls up, but you're taking...
Okay, so that only took about 15 minutes. You can see I have this jam-packed with apples. I did keep some apple skins on. It doesn't bother me. I usually either use my immersion blender or I'm gonna use my Vitamix to blend up this applesauce. But it's on low, I'm just gonna let it hang out. In a couple hours I'll come and stir it and I'll show it to you. They just fall apart. And you can either process this after, I think it's probably about 4 or 5 hours. It should be soft enough to blend. The last time I did this, let it go and then had it sit on warm overnight. And then in the morning, I put it on the stove, brought it back up to temp, blended it, and canned it. So I don't know if I'm gonna get to canning today, but I was thinking, and she does put in her recipe for the apple pie filling that you could can this in quart jars. I have done that before, but I'm just gonna do mine in the freezer. And this makes 7 to 8 quart-sized jars, or 7 to 8 apple pie fillings. I don't need 7 to 8 pie fillings. So I think what I'm gonna do is just completely halve this recipe. So we're gonna make about 4 apple pie fillings for the freezer. And I was thinking about using them for apple pie and apple crisp, I think is what I'm gonna use them for. So that calls for 20 cups of thinly sliced apples. I already have everything set up, so I feel like it's silly to clean all this up and then do it again. So I'm gonna go ahead and process the apples, but just for 10. So I'm gonna use the Granny Smith. Matt likes to eat the Granny Smith, so I'm not gonna use all of them, but I'm gonna sacrifice my Golden Delicious apples. I personally love these. I'll get some more on the weekend, it's fine. So I'm gonna use, if I'm doing 10 apples, I think I'm gonna use, and they're big too, I'm gonna leave 1 out. So I'll do 3 of the Golden Delicious and then the rest of the Granny Smith. And I'm going to be putting them in a water bath. And she said you can either use water and salt, which I've never tried before, or water and lemon juice. And I'm just gonna do the lemon juice, and I just have the store-bought squeezed lemon juice so that they don't turn. I did not do that with the applesauce the apples for the applesauce, I don't care if they turn. They're just going to be cooked down anyway. I am, however, going to pay attention. I don't like apple peels in my apple pie, so if you notice the apple slicer sometimes leaves some apple peel, I'm going to pull those out. I don't know if I'm going to be able to cook this right now. I might put them in a bowl and put them in the fridge, and then come dinner time, I'm doing easy dinner tonight. We're having hot dogs, tater tots, and salad. Salad is already done. I did it last night, so I did that on purpose so that I could can tonight if I wanted to. I think we might cook the apple pie filling tonight. Give ourselves a little bit of a break. So let me prepare the apples for the apple pie filling and get those in the fridge.
There's a new day that will come again tomorrow. There's a new day to wash away the pain. There's a new day to take away your sorrow, and the old ways get washed out by the rain. Darling, you've got to keep holding on through the night, 'cause I promise you this: if you try to get some sleep, if you give up the fight, if only just for a bit, there's a new day to leave behind your troubles. There's a new day, and it will set you free.
Okay, so that took about another 15 minutes. Those Granny Smiths were giving me such trouble. I had one that the inside just like obliterated. So I just cut him half to make sure that he wasn't rotten. He wasn't. I wrapped him up in, what was that? I think it's my beeswax wrap, threw it in the fridge. I'll have that for a snack later. And then the Granny Smiths, they were getting like stuck on the prongs. They were not peeling. It's fine. So this is my mixture bowl from my KitchenAid. It's a 12-cup mixture bowl, and it's pretty full. So I don't even know if I'm gonna have half of this recipe. I might have more than that because it calls for, oh, never mind, it calls for 20 cups. So I'm probably at 10 cups. We're still good at half the recipe, ignore me. But my apples were really big. Like this is the Golden Delicious. They're pretty big apples, so I do have some left. So I have 2 Golden Delicious, the one I obliterated, so that's 3 for me, and 2 Granny Smiths for Matt. I do have Misfit produce coming today. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to clear out the fridge. I can't remember if I ordered apples, but I also need to make a Food Lion run for like other things that I can't get online. So I'll get more apples at the grocery store if we don't go apple picking this weekend. That's fine. I'm really happy with this. I'm glad I didn't have to do this again, and I must have insulted my apple peeler because he behaved himself and stayed stuck to my counter the entire time. That literally did not happen the last time. I had to constantly adjust it. So, only 9:30 in the morning. I want to play with Paul so he's not watching TV all day. We're gonna go do something. I might have a cup of coffee. Mine actually got cold. I forgot about it. The apples are in lemon juice water. I'm just gonna add a little bit more water, put the lid on this, stick this in the fridge. We'll deal with this afternoon. And these guys, in a few hours, I'm gonna stir them. I thought I would see some heat coming through. I don't yet, but it is getting warm. So I'll let these guys go all day. We might do the apple pie filling this evening and can these up tomorrow. We shall see how it goes. Let me get all cleaned up and we'll be back. Oh, one more thing. In case you're wondering, all this beautiful stuff is not going to waste. This is going in my compost tumbler. Okay, so it's lunchtime. It's been about, I'd say about 2 or 3 hours, and I have not touched this. So let's see if I can mush these down any. You can see it's getting brown on top. Like I said, that doesn't really bother me. I'm just gonna mush these around so that the top apples are kind of getting towards the bottom. And I have this on low, like I said. I just kind of let this go. You can add cinnamon, you can add sugar. I like to leave mine completely plain because this is for my toddler and me. I like applesauce too. So I'll give this a mix. The ones on the bottom are definitely breaking down, and there's still liquid down there, so I don't need to add anything. So that's it. You can already tell it broke down some because I had this completely packed down. So I'll come back and stir that probably when Paul gets up from nap for another like 3 hours or so. So it is much later in the day. My kitchen has gotten crazier and crazier. My Misfit produce came today and I got a whole bunch of stuff. I got like 4th of July Rice Krispies and naan breads and pita breads and of course fruits and veg. But that kind of took over my kitchen. Paul is up from his nap but just chilling in bed. So I really want to get this apple pie filling started on the stove because it has to cool down before I can bag it up and put it in the freezer. The applesauce is getting there. I'm going to stir that in a second. I know I'm not going to be able to can that this evening. So I am going to either let it cool completely, put it in the fridge, or just leave it on warm all night, which is what I did before. We shall see. I might just take it out and let it cool and then tonight throw it in the refrigerator because I actually have room for the entire crock pot insert in the refrigerator. But anyway, I've been doing a whole bunch of other stuff. I just uploaded a video, and I don't know if anybody else is a YouTuber and does videos, and maybe it's just my computer, but I uploaded it to YouTube and like half of it uploaded. So I had already written my whole description, so I had to like re-upload it. Anyway, it's doing its thing. So let's turn around and get the apple pie filling going. I am low on brown sugar, so if I don't have any in the basement, which I might, I usually make my own, but when I went to Costco, I was just like, ugh, I bought a bunch. If there's none down there, then I'm just going to use more white sugar than brown sugar, and I'll make my own brown sugar another day. And please excuse my bra straps. It's really rude. I have like a sports bra on. So anyway, this is the recipe from, what did I say her recipe, her book was? HappyMoneySavers.com, and it is going to, I'm having everything, I'll list the full recipe below. About 10 cups of apples, 1 cup of white sugar, 1 cup of brown sugar, half a cup of cornstarch, some salt. She puts 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. We love cinnamon, so I'm gonna add a lot. 2 dashes of nutmeg, 6 cups of water. You're gonna cook everything except for the apples in a big pot for about a minute, whisking constantly. Then you're gonna add your apples. Stir with a wooden spoon, and it should take about 5 to 6 minutes to get boiling, and then cover and simmer for 8 to 9 minutes, remove from heat, and let cool completely before bagging it up. And in her recipe, like I said, I'll link this below, she does, I obviously printed this, she says click here for the recipe for, if you wanted to make this an apple crisp, to click here for the recipe. And there's no, obviously, URL, so I'm gonna have to go hunt that down. Because I think we're gonna make 1 apple pie at one point and 1 apple crisp. If this works out really well, I might get more apples and make more of this, but we'll see. So anyway, let me show you the applesauce really fast. Okay, so I did end up stirring this around noon. So this is 3:30, this has been on for about 6 hours, and you can see everything is super soft. So this is perfect, in my opinion, right now. If you wanted to take your immersion blender, give this a couple blends, and then it's ready to can. It's hot and beautiful, and that took about 6 hours on low. You could probably do it on high too. I don't have a recipe for this. This is just something I do. I'm probably just gonna turn this off and put this whole thing in the refrigerator. I think, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Tomorrow morning we'll can this guy. So I'm gonna call this done and turn this off.
Can we work it out? Only time will tell. It's gonna take a lot, 'cause we've been through hell. I can't be without you. I've tried and I failed. So can we work it out? Only time will tell.
Okay, so everything looks like it's bubbling. I'm starting the timer at a minute, like it says in the instructions, stirring constantly. I'm assuming this is the cornstarch thickening. And then we're gonna add the apples. Okay, I just pulled that from the heat from a second because it was starting to bubble everywhere. Here are my apples. I don't really think there's any gracious way to get these in here other than using my hands. Just didn't want them to splash on me at first. Okay. My silicone spoonula is in the dishwasher, so I'm going to use a wooden spoon. So put this back on the heat, and we are going to get this all mixed up here. Okay, so I just added cold apples to that hot syrup, so I'm just waiting for this to come back to a bubble, and then it says reduce the heat to medium-low, cover, and stir occasionally for about 8 to 9 minutes until the apples get a little soft but not falling apart. Okay, so it has been 8 minutes, and this looks really good. I have it on a medium-low. These apples have been cooking. They're soft. I can see it. They're kind of floppy, but they're not falling apart. So I'm going to turn this off. It says let it cool for 20 minutes, constantly, you know, scraping it, but I'm just gonna leave it on the stove. I will get to it before dinner. It's 4 o'clock now. And I'm gonna bag it up. It says this is I read this wrong before. So the recipe is 7 to 8 quart-sized jars, but it says if you're freezing this as apple pie filling, ladle 5 cups into a gallon-sized freezer bag. There should be 4 bags total. So I'm guessing 2 quart jars equal a pie, and half of this is 1 pie. So I will get 2 bags out of this, is where I was going with that. So I'm just gonna scooch this over, just let it hang out here on the stove and cool down, and then at some point we'll put this in bags, and I am going to use silicone bags.
On your mind, I think it's time to speak. I have crossed the line, but no, not just me. I'm feeling something.
Okay, so good morning. It is now day 2 of this project. It's Wednesday. Paul got his flu shot on Friday, and he didn't nap Saturday, Sunday, and then he started acting kind of weird yesterday. I'm not overly concerned. He's just not himself. Did not sleep very well last night, which means I did not sleep very well last night. So anyway, I don't even know why I'm telling you that. It's been a long day, so we're about ready to finish this project because I want it done and put things away. The applesauce I had in the fridge overnight. This morning I just put it out, put it in the slow cooker, put it on high for about an hour just to heat it up a little bit. It just makes it a little easier, I feel like, to blend. I also have my Vitamix out here. I made Paul his smoothie. I just have the pitcher thing in the drying rack. I washed it off. So I'm going to, in batches, blend the applesauce in the Vitamix just for a couple seconds on the lowest setting, just to break everything up. And then we're gonna put it into a big pot and we're gonna put it on the stove and bring it to temperature. One thing that I'm gonna do a little bit different for canning is I almost dropped it. I actually really like to use a steam canner. I rarely see these used and I like them a lot. They, to me, are a lot faster than the water bath method because there's just a little bit of water that you heat up and then it pressurizes, or not pressurizes, it cans with the heat of the steam instead of just being submerged in water. Same temperature, I use the same time as just a regular water bath. So I'm gonna get this set up. I have water boiling for that and I'm gonna steal some for some coffee because I need it. So I'll show you what that looks like and how I set that up. Oh my God, the hiccups, I'm so sorry. And then for the applesauce canning directions, I'm using this, it's by Ball Jar. It's the complete book of home preserving. There's a recipe in here for applesauce. So I did just apples. If you wanted the sweetened one, it talks about adding sugar, which is optional. And I'm going to add lemon juice. I have some just bottled organic lemon juice that I got from Thrive. I've used it before, it's already open. So I'm going to use that. And I'm going to be using pint-sized jars because I use like the wide mouth ones. And I don't have enough wide mouth jars currently available because I also use them as like storage containers for dry goods around my house. All of my quart size mason jars are the regular mouth and I don't have any lids for those. So we're gonna be doing in pint-sized jars and literally Paul goes through a pint-sized jar in like 2 days. So not the most practical, but it's okay. I pulled out 6 because I think that's how many I got last time. It's either 6 or 7, I can't remember. So we'll find out together. And it says 8 pint jars. So maybe I'll grab 2 more and just rinse off 2 more wide mouth lids. And it's 4 tablespoons of lemon juice for 8 pint jars. So that's a half a tablespoon of lemon juice in each jar. I wipe the lid with just distilled white vinegar, put the lid on, screw it on, and then process it. The pint and the quart size jars process for the same amount of time. And it is 20 minutes. I also saved the instructions from the manufacturer for my steam canner. It also has applesauce in there, 20 minutes. And it tells me, I'll show you, there's a little vent hole. And once the steam reaches, I think it's like 8 inches, you start counting then. All right, let's start blending and getting the applesauce on the stove and heating up because I want that super hot when I start this whole process.
You look at me like I'm crazy when I shut my feelings out. You look at me like I'm different. Still you stay 'cause you feel something.
I mean, look how nice and smooth this is. It's so nice. I think I'm actually just going to stick with the 6 mason jars. Whatever's left over, I'm just going to put in a zip top silicone container and keep in the fridge just because I don't feel like washing any more lids. We're just gonna process this today. I can already tell you that we're going through this really fast. I'd love to grab some more apples. The apple farmer did tell me he has apples till November. So I don't know when I'm gonna grab them, but I'd love to keep doing this a few more times to get hopefully some quart-sized jars. I might even use my turkey roaster and show you how I use that instead of the slow cooker to make large batches. Okay, so my water's still boiling. While that's doing, let me show you the setup I have. Here's the applesauce. It did start bubbling. I turned it down to low. I have my ladle. Ooh, I just realized I'm missing something to get that out of the drying rack. So I have my ladle, my funnel. I do really want to replace this with a metal version. Maybe I'll add that to my Christmas list just to get away from plastic. I have my 6 jars here, 6 rings. I just put these through the dishwasher last night so they're clean. I don't bother boiling them anymore. I used to, I don't do that anymore. The lids I just hand washed with warm soapy water, so those are ready to go. I have a rag here with some distilled vinegar on it that I will rub the rims with, and then I have my organic pure lemon juice. You could just use obviously a lemon, but I like to use this, it's easier. And then my measuring set just so happened to have a 1/2 tablespoon. So I'm gonna add a 1/2 tablespoon to the bottom of each jar before adding the applesauce. So I'm still waiting for the water to boil, but I'm gonna go ahead and set up my canner and then I will show you everything, the parts once I get out of the box. Okay, so here's everything that comes with the steam canner. It's got the base. It's almost honestly like a bath canner flipped upside down. So here's the base. You can see it's pretty shallow. And here's the rack. There's only one rack. And then this is the lid, I guess you'd call it. And it goes on top. And there is a steam hole here. It's here. And it says to fill it with 6 to 8 cups of water. I usually go right below the rack. I measured it once. And it says to add 1 tablespoon of vinegar to help with darkening. I didn't do that in the beginning. That's why it's so dark. But let me just go add some vinegar. It's in my laundry room to the base of this. Okay, so my water is boiling. Let me go grab that and dump some in. I'm just boiling a little bit more water. My kettle is 1.5 liters, about 6 cups, and I took some out for coffee. So I'm just gonna add just a smidge more, but I'm gonna turn the heat on to just about medium right now. I just want this to stay warm. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill my jars. Like I said, I'm only doing 6, and then we will turn it on.
With your colors, they kinda tell me what I'm thinking. I fell in love with the way we are and the way we lose it. There's something different about us and the reason why we stay. We fly around like paper planes. They never know where we will fall. Nobody can see us, still they wanna tear us apart. There's something different about the way we are.
Okay, so actually, when I put them in the crock pot, I knew it wasn't as many apples. I wanted to pull some out for those apple pie fillings. So I got a lot less this time. I got 5 full pints and then I have a little half pint. I'm just gonna put this in the fridge. So I just poured some more water in there. I'm gonna put the lid on, put it on high until I see the steam coming out. So you basically just wanna continue with every range is different. Mine's kind of like a medium high. I wanna keep that steam stream at 8 inches long. So I kind of just hang out here. I'm gonna load the dishwasher, get that thing going. And then I think I have a sick kid, so I'm gonna hang out with Paul for the rest of the day. But let me show you. So right here is the hole, so I'm just gonna put the lid on. And then once I see 8 inches of steam coming out of here, I'll start my timer for 20 minutes. Okay, so after 20 minutes, I just shut the heat off. I let this sit on here for about 5 minutes and took them off and let them sit. Paul just went up to take a nap, so I took a little break. But they all seem to have sealed, which is awesome. So I'm just going to leave them here. I'm probably gonna put them over there with the others in a minute. And then, like I said, I really wanna make more of this, so I need to get some more apples. Now I just have quite the mess to clean up. My dishwasher's done, so I'm going to unload that and reload it, get everything all cleaned up, and then do something else. If you give any of these recipes a try, make sure to let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
There's something different about the way we are.